Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited. I'm Nicola Barito. Let's take a look at the headlines. The Prime Minister formally opens 4-star Magdalena Grand Resort in Tobago. $100 million will be spent on outfitting the Scarborough Hospital with the latest medical technology. And plans to boost the tourism sector in Tobago. Thank you for joining us to our top story. At the formal opening of the 4-star Magdalena Grand Beach Resort, Prime Minister the Honorable Kamla Persad Bissassa announced the commitment of her government to restructure the tourism sector on the island through the Tobago Development Fund as well as partnership with the THA. This also entails the introduction of marina bays as well as the establishment of duty-free zones.
Which we approved at the cabinet level yesterday, and that is the Tourism Development Fund, Tobago Tourism Development Fund of $250 million. So one is a duty-free area, and the second we are considering is to build or to construct marinas, first-class marinas in Tobago. These are about two initiatives that I think we can look at to increase capacity here and of course bring more visitors here.
She said rebranding the facility meant expanding the tourism industry in Tobago.
Since this hotel opened in 2011, that 17,000 room nights have been booked, with guests arriving from countries across the globe: Austria, Canada, the Caribbean, France, Italy, Qatar, Norway, the United States, and of course from Trinidad. But I'm also advised that the majority of guests came from the UK and across Europe. I'm advised that these visitors tend to stay longer at the resort, and that is good for business, and indeed it proves that in spite of the lengthy closure, Tobago has largely maintained its high appeal in the core tourist market.
Meanwhile, Trade and Industry Minister Stephen Cady says the opening of the hotel means the creation of more jobs on the island of Tobago.
There are 277 employees on the payroll of the Magdalena, 277. And out of that, 270 people are from Trinidad and Tobago, with the majority, as Mr. London says, majority coming from Tobago. And again, that was essential to really and truly beef up the Tobago economy.
It's expected that during the Prime Minister's trip to Tobago, she will launch several new initiatives, including the opening of a new legal aid office on the island. $100 million will be spent on outfitting the Scarborough Hospital with the latest medical technology. This was the pronouncement arising from this week's post-cabinet media briefing held in Tobago, as Minister of Tobago Development, Mrs. Vernella Allen-Toppin, assured hospitals' capability in meeting the needs of the Tobago people.
The newly opened Scarborough Hospital will be fully outfitted to serve the needs of the people of Tobago. That's the assurance from Tobago Development Minister Vernella Allen-Toppin, who says government will spend approximately $100 million in the purchase of key medical equipment for the hospital.
The Minister of Health, Dr. Fuad Khan, is committed to that spend of $100 million for the completion of the new Scarborough Hospital. In essence, that money is supposed to provide all the equipment that is needed now, including the MRI machine and such very important bits of equipment for our healthcare in Tobago.
She added that the monies located will be adequately spent by the Tobago Regional Health Authority.
All of the remaining infrastructure will be put in, and that money will be expended by the Ministry of Health through the TRHA. So the $100 million is going to be spent on the hospital.
Meanwhile, she expressed pleasure in the increase in budgetary allocations for the development of Tobago.
In fiscal 2011-2012, the central government has allocated and used more than the normal allocation, and to be more than there ever was. And this fiscal year, we've had the highest allocation to Tobago through the THE and through other ministries. Whatever is due to Tobago will come to Tobago. In essence, you will have nearly 6% of the national budget coming to Tobago this year. And that's something that Dr. Baker and I have really lobbied for. And as I say all the time in Trinidad, it is easy to get anything for Tobago in Trinidad now.
The Scarborough Hospital, which was commissioned earlier this year by Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar, is expected to be fully functional by August. So far, surgeries at the new Scarborough Hospital have commenced and is being done on a phased basis. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
News 4 continues after the break. Stay with us.
Homo sapien, we'll call him Mark. It spends its days trying to attract a mate. Success. What follows is a series of celebratory actions unique to this species. Every Homo sapien has their own way of displaying themselves to attract a female. But things don't go according to plan.
Where the water gone?
No water, no love. Pay your water bill today.
The Water and Sewage Authority of Trinidad and Tobago. Water security for every sector. Deliver it. Sustain it.
We are reporting from communities across the country. People are calling Nalis Libraries their library. Tell me, why is Nalis your library?
My library is where I can have fun learning.
My library is helping me earn better grades with online research resources.
My library is my gateway to the world of information.
My library is providing access to the differently abled. As a visually impaired person, I can envision limitless possibilities.
My library is making my world truly worldwide with free internet access.
My library is helping me keep an eye on my health with access to the virtual health library via the Nalis website.
Nalis is my library.
Welcome back. Plans to boost the tourism sector in Tobago are set to be on the table. Trade and Industry Minister Stephen Cady says in order to be a viable competitor in the tourism market, at least 1,200 rooms are needed on the island. The minister was speaking at the weekly post-cabinet media briefing held in Tobago ahead of government's commissioning of the Magdalena Grand Resort, where he highlighted plans to work alongside hoteliers to improve the infrastructure and quality of rooms on the island.
Trade and Industry Minister Stephen Cady says government is looking at creative ways in boosting tourist arrivals on the Sister Isle. Speaking during a special post-cabinet media briefing held at the Magdalena Grand Hotel in Tobago, Minister Cady said his ministry has outlined plans to work together with hotels in upgrading infrastructure as it looks to improve the quality of rooms. However, the minister says hotels looking to upgrade their facilities and in need of financing will have to meet the required criteria before funding is provided.
This hotel is only approximately 200 rooms. So with that in mind, where do we get the other 1,000 rooms from? So the government, in discussion with the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Tourism, Ministry of Trade, Planning, we have determined that the government has agreed to a guarantee program with potential investors coming to Tobago to invest in tourism plant. And the basic criteria would be that we would be providing a guarantee of up to 70% of the value of the hotel. And that would encourage people, that would encourage financiers to actually start the erection of new tourism plant.
Minister Cady says this was in keeping with the establishment of the Tourism Development Fund announced during last year's budget.
We have also come up with a fund which is the Tobago Tourism Development Fund, which once you meet the criteria, the government again will work with the commercial banks or financial institutions that those particular businesses have facilities with a view of an extension on the facilities, with a view of shoring up the finances of those private companies that are in fact ailing, in order that they would be able to keep their doors open, keep people employed. And again, looking at it with a view of getting the arrivals up within a year.
He added that so far government has put in place incentives in an attempt to draw further investors to the tourism sector on the island.
What we need to do, and what we have been doing at the Ministry of Trade and Industry, is really and truly cutting away a lot of the bureaucracy and red tape that is required to set up a business, because right now setting up a business in Trinidad and Tobago up until now has been a pretty difficult job, if you want to call it, especially if you're going into manufacturing and what have you. And in order to ease that, that is what we're working on, to get rid of all that bureaucratic red tape. Which would make life a lot easier. But the fiscal incentives are there already, and they're very, very good fiscal incentives. They're extremely good fiscal incentives, for instance, in the hotel business. So all around it works. What the problems that we have had in Trinidad and Tobago is that bureaucracy.
The minister notes that through this, government hopes to improve the tourist experience to one unique to the Caribbean. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
The journey of a survivor. This was a presentation of genealogist Shamsuddin, who spoke at the ceremony to mark the inscription of the documentary heritage of the Indian indentured laborers on the UNESCO Memory of the World Register at the National Archives of Trinidad and Tobago. An account of the story of the soon-to-be 100-year-old woman who was said to be born on the ocean during her mother's journey from India to Trinidad was one of the highlights of the ceremony to mark the inscription of the documentary heritage of the Indian indentured laborers.
This is a journey that our dear Makani had made, but the journey, as it was hard on all people, especially on a pregnant woman like Makani, She was advanced in her pregnancy, and on the 4th of October, 1912, she gave birth to a beautiful baby girl who we have in our presence today by Jahajin she was called, a girl of the sea.
Highlighting some of the details of the long journey of the indentured laborers to this country was Coast Guard Senior Lecturer Dr. Radhika Mahes.
Not all the laborers who arrived under the indentureship scheme stayed in Trinidad. Approximately 25% were repatriated to India during the duration of the scheme, and as late as 1922, there were ships leaving from Trinidad to India.
She is also underscoring the crucial role that the archives play in keeping the history alive, as it provides information on most aspects of the laborers' everyday lives, their culture, economic activity, land ownership, political affiliation, customs, and habits.
I mentioned earlier that the documents we have here at the National Archives, they add a voice to the laborers. They give the laborers a voice. That is, they show various aspects of the lives of the immigrants. From documents such as the note on immigrant from India to Trinidad, and report of the Committee on Immigration from India to the Crown Colony and Protectorates, we get information about most aspects of the laborers' everyday lives.
Performing at the event was world-class musician Mangal Patisa, who serenaded Miss Sumandari Doon with his musical piece. Veena Bharath, News 4. More news after the break. Stay with us.
The iPhone 4S has an all-new camera with 8 megapixels and advanced optics. So it lets you capture stunning photos. And because it's an iPhone, you can do things you never imagined possible with a camera. So maybe the only camera you need is the one on the most amazing iPhone yet.
Thank you for staying with us. Creating opportunities for the youth in this country, the solution to crime prevention being highlighted by the community members of depressed areas in this country. Police Commissioner Dwayne Gibbs noted the proposal put forward by the community members as he addressed a discussion on the ministry's crime reduction strategies at the Crown Plaza Hotel.
I've asked them point blank, What will it take to stop the killing? What will it take to stop the crime? And what is interesting is the responses I had back. They were very quick to say, we've got to look after the youth. Create opportunity for the youth so that they aren't just in a survival mode from day to day, but they've got areas to expand, whether it's in sports, drama, arts, opportunity to reach their potential. So these young guys are saying, look after the young people. Take care of them, the next generation.
The Commissioner of Police says government has identified the critical role communities play in crime fighting. He says while government does its part in fighting and preventing crime in this country, there are other sectors of society that are required to step in as well.
We have to come together and provide that for them. From the policing side of the house, we will also engage. We need to be there too, to work with these youth, to work with the young people, and also to provide the safety while other groups come in and work with them as well. But together we can achieve an awful lot.
Meanwhile, also contributing to the discussions was Colonel Rodney Smart, who is announcing that the vision and mission of the ministry is to implement a more comprehensive approach to national security by building resilience in the youth and increasing community capacity to reduce crime.
How are we going to respond? And therefore, we look at our disaster management, our fire and life safety, and our road safety and security. But an emerging concept is citizen and public security. How are we going to secure our communities? How are we going to build resilience in our youth, resilience in our communities? And therefore, speaking to the prevention and intervention pillar that the minister just spoke to, we've developed strategies that pay particular attention to strengthen our communities, strengthen our youth.
Colonel Smart is also highlighting 5 crime-fighting strategies by the National Security Ministry, which are expected to have great impact on crime prevention.
In terms of territorial, regional, and international security, we must be able to conduct continuous operations. 24/7 operations, 365, 366 days a year. Nothing must stop the ministry from conducting operations. Rain, sun, whatever, we must be able to conduct operations. And the minister spoke about it, increased patrols, etc. But it would be patrols, both land, sea, and air patrols. We must be able to control the passage of hazardous or dangerous materials that are going to pass through our territory. We must be able to work joint and interagency by land, sea, and air. Not the police going down one way, the defense force going down one way, the ODPM going down another way. We must be able to work as a comprehensive whole. It's the only way.
Vuna Bharath, News 4. The final of the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board 2020 Festival will be contested at Guacara Park in Pointe-a-Pierre. The tournament has garnered a huge following, as is the norm with 2020 cricket. But this festival is special, according to Dudnat Ramkasoon of the TTCB. He explained why to Wayne Cunningham.
Guacara Park will be in the spotlight on Saturday when the final of the 2020 Cricket Festival is contested. For 10 days, cricket enthusiasts has been satisfied with a high level of entertainment, and here is why, according to Dudnat Ramkasoon, first Vice President of the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board.
You have the top cricketers in the land participate in this T20 competition, and it's really the start of our preparations going on to the Champions League in India. As you know, we have qualified for that, and what the selectors will be looking at the performances of the players very closely as we get set to really select our team for the Champions League. It's a very exciting competition. It's creating a lot of interest. Today, we have concluded the preliminary stages. We move on to the next round, and we have some very interesting games. Pollard joined us last week and had a very good score. He played for Queen's Park.
Mr. Ramkisoon named the clubs who are expected to challenge for the title.
It will be Queen's Park Cricket Club, who won the tournament last year. You have Power Gen Sports Club. You have Clark Road. You have Merry Boys. You have Musai Sports Club.
The final night of competition is expected to be a fitting climax, and more T20 cricket is in the pipeline.
On Saturday, we'll have the third place playoff from 3 to 6, and hopefully like 7:30 we'll probably start the finals. The winners will get around $50,000. So that's a big purse, charity team, medals, challenge trophy. So it'll be very interesting, very competitive. A lot of money at stake for the winners and the second place teams. But I say what is even more important is for us as selectors. We're looking at the performance of the players. What is going to happen after this tournament as we continue our preparation going into that India? We will be looking at the players here to select 4 teams. We have a franchise tournament that will come up next month, 22nd, 23rd, 24th at the Queen's Park Oval. So we'll want to select like 36 of the best players out of this for those franchise teams, which the sponsors will have a say into determining the other players on the team.
The fans will not be left out.
We expect the families to come out, bring the kids, enjoy the cricket. We have prizes for the best batsman, best bowler, best fieldsman. Several incentives. Even we will have prizes for the spectators, where we will give out on the final night, for example, at least 10 tickets, season tickets for the matches at the Queen's Park for a 3-day game, where we'll have India A and playing West Indies A also at the Queen's Park Oval in 2 T20 games. So a lot of games coming up, and we expect very exciting cricket.
Karakara Park will be the place to be on Saturday. Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sport.
When we come back, fulfilling the promise.
The Homo sapien, we'll call him Mark. It spends its days trying to attract a mate. Success. What follows is a series of celebratory actions unique to this species. Every Homo sapien has their own way of displaying themselves to attract a female. But things don't go according to plan.
Where the water gone?
No water, no love. Pay your WASA bill today.
The Water and Sewage Authority of Trinidad and Tobago. Water security for every sector. Deliver it. Sustain it.
In our special feature, Fulfilling the Promise, we highlight the initiatives and achievements of the government over its 2 years in office. At News 4, we've joined in that effort. And each day in our news package, we feature one of those highlights from the long and impressive list of milestones over these 24 months. In this story, we look at the opening of the Scarborough Hospital.
Tobagoanians now have a greater chance of receiving better health care on the island. This, as the long-awaited Scarborough Hospital was commissioned by Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar. The hospital can boast of providing non-contrast CT scans, ultrasound, mammography, as well as bone density scans. Speaking at the opening ceremony, Prime Minister Persad-Bissessar said the realization of the hospital project could not have happened without collaboration among all stakeholders.
This project has truly been a team effort. It has shown that indeed partnership is a vital factor in making dreams into reality. And today I ask you to give a round of applause for all those who partnered together to make this dream a reality. Sustainability relies upon the well-being of our people and our ability to provide care that is needed when it is needed and with the capacity that is needed.
The Prime Minister added that ensuring the hospital was opened was something high on the agenda for her government, as providing proper health care for all citizens was a priority.
This hospital will provide appropriate care for the chronically ill and our treasured senior citizens, whilst at the same time supporting the integration of primary care and community service into a total system of healthcare. Further, we are utilizing information and communication technology in the operation and management of this hospital at all levels to further enhance our thrust to maximum efficiency in the delivery of healthcare services. This initial phase also includes the implementation of a patient registration service to properly identify every patient interfacing with healthcare services. Each patient will receive an e-health card, and that shall be the primary means by which he or she will access health services at this hospital.
While the ceremony symbolized the opening of the first phase, the Prime Minister assured that the full commissioning would take place by the end of the year.
Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited. I'm Nicola Barreto. Thank you for joining us.